All right, so we're going to look at contractile cells. So when you think about an action potential, you should be or know or realize that the action potential that we've talked about runs like this, and we get depolarization, repolarization, hyperpolarization, and then back to normal. So that is just a regular action potential. Depolarization comes from sodium, voltage gated sodium gates open and sodium rushing in, and then that opens up potassium gates, and then potassium rushes in, and that repolarizes the membrane. Contractile cardiac cells act a little bit different. So their resting membrane potential occurs at -90. So that's the first difference. So they sit at -90. And they go along at rest, and contractile cells are triggered to depolarize. So it's like they're being told to do it. So they're triggered to depolarize by an outside source. Okay, so they're going along, and when they're told to depolarize, voltage-gated sodium channels open, and they just depolarize. Boom. Okay, so it's not gradual, or it doesn't start gradually. It just goes because they're just told to do it. It just happens. Okay, so this is the first thing. So number one, when an action potential enters, so it's getting an action potential trigger from outside, from somewhere else, and that opens voltage gated sodium channels. Okay, so once it gets up to about 20 millivolts, then something else happens. And what happens is voltage gated potassium channels open. And these are fast channels. So put that in there. Fast potassium channels open. So they open, and so potassium flows out, right? So potassium goes out, and as it does that, it triggers calcium channels to open. And these are voltage gated, and that will create a plateau, because no idea how to spell plateau. There you go. So creates a plateau because calcium is a positive ion, and calcium will be flowing in, and it will be kind of stopping the repolarization process. So it creates this plateau. 3. Let me put to here. And that plateau is a refractory period. An absolute refractory period. The muscle cell cannot be restimulated in here. Cannot be restimulated while it's in this refractory period. And it's extended, so it's about 0.25 to 0.3 seconds there. So it's this time where the cell can't depolarize again, and it's just going through, it's just contracting, and then it can't contract again until this refractory period is over. So it has to completely relax, basically. In a skeletal muscle cell, you can stimulate that muscle cell before it completely relaxes. You can do it all the way up until you have tetany, and that's kind of a good thing with skeletal muscle. But tetany in a cardiac muscle would mean your heart stops beating, so that wouldn't be a good thing at all. So after this refractory period, then we get more potassium channels open, but these are slow potassium channels. And then we get repolarization of the membrane. So we come down here, we get a little bit of hyperpolarization, and then we're back to resting. Okay, so again, contractile cells must completely relax before they can be stimulated again. Before they can depolarize again. So we do not want tetanus in a cardiac muscle. That would be bad. All right, so that's what a contractile cell looks like, the stimulation of a contractile cell. So where does this action potential come from to start this? So that's what we're going to talk about with the autorhythmic cells.